Hi everybody, welcome back to Zesty Thoughts with your host Anabla. Welcome to episode 63. I am starting off the episode strong with some dubs of the week. I pulled off basically a magic trick this weekend, essentially. One of my best friends asked me to cover for her for a gig with 3 days notice. And to preface, I grew up gigging a lot, performing a lot, and as a youngin was like always put in these situations where I had to learn material at the last minute. Admittedly, I've always been a bit of a procrastinator. So I have, acclimated in life to learning things well under pressure, essentially. So, I haven't had a gig like this in a while where, essentially I had to pull together an hour-long set in like 2.5 days. I found out on a Wednesday night and the set was Saturday morning, but I did it. I'm so proud of myself. It was like an hour of R&B. So it was in my wheelhouse. It was music I already knew like how to sing. I know these songs like the back of my hand. I just had never played them. I did some oldies and some, 90s classic stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It was successful and I pulled it off. So I just want to like give myself a pat on the back because it was like 3 days of like me having to rehearse before work, after work with physical therapy, like on breaks while I was at work, in between students. And I'm just very proud of myself. I literally did that and I literally ate. So Zesty still has it, y'all. Like, don't be mistaken. But yeah, I am gonna start off super strong basically in today's episode. I'm going to dive straight into some album reviews. I want to do this first on the pod because 2 albums that I listened to this week, both of them were fantastic. But I have to start with Rosalia's new album, LUX. If y'all have not listened to this album, honestly, turn off the pod right now and go listen to it. I am begging you to listen to this album. I don't care what kind of music you frequent, like what your vibe is, like what your favorite style is, whatever. If you are just a music lover and you can appreciate like straight up lyrical poetry, this is just like an alternative work of art. That's like, I really, all of my notes just came down to like, this is like what art is. And I there's like an interview with Rosalía, where she's kind of talking through a little bit about the album, like making it and stuff like that. And the first bullet point that I wrote down after listening to this album was that to me, it was like so beautifully intimate and just felt like human. It felt pure and human to me. And in her interview, that was like one thing that like she was saying was super important to her, especially within like this age of like an increase of like use of AI in the arts. That was something that she wanted to like resist essentially. And she wanted this project to be like the antithesis of that. She wanted it to be like human made, and for it to feel like that. And like, literally I wrote that down before I heard that interview. So I was like, period. Yeah, girl, you accomplished that because it spoke to me. It spoke to me in ways like I don't even have the words, honestly, to express my love for this album. I'm going to be listening to this like indefinitely. I'm going to be studying this album. I know some Spanish, but there are definitely like, there's a lot of like future tense and a lot of like, there's a lot of tenses going on. And my conjugation is like, overall, I'm really bad at conjugating verbs. So there are a lot of words that I'm like, wait, I know this word, but like what? Right? So it's testing. It's also testing a little bit of my Spanish knowledge. And I am literally just gobsmacked at this album. Essentially, I'm really having a hard time like actually finding words to describe how I feel. I've only listened to it once all the way through. But I need the vinyl like now. I need it yesterday, essentially. I am going to be listening to this album like essentially probably the rest of the year, like over and over and over. I want to study it. The fact that there are so many languages used, I think is like the coolest thing ever. I just like so can appreciate that. Because things hit different in different languages, like 100%. And I think that the intentional use of different languages to like communicate different energies and different messages, like was very, very cool. I just thought that was a cool choice. Yeah, I just love this project as a whole. I am literally begging you to go out and listen to it. And if you need to, obviously you probably will need to unless you're like a polyglot or something. What's that term where you like speak a bunch of languages? Unless you're like a polyglot, you're gonna have to like translate some of these lyrics. So like go on Genius or like some website and literally read, in my opinion, you should be like reading the lyrics while you're listening. Or maybe just like listen to it first and then like on second listen, look at the lyrics. I don't know. I like to read the lyrics like when I'm listening to something for the first time, if I'm like able to. So that's just like my preference. But yeah, I mean, my top 3 songs, I actually like dead ass, like when I listen to new music, other than like discovery, like playlists, and playlists just like on Apple Music and Spotify, I will add whatever is in the new category, like album wise. I'll add the entire album to my listen to this shit playlist, and then I'll just like get to it when I get to it. That album is probably like thousands of songs long because there's like always new music, right? I do that with like most new albums that I listen to. And then as I listen to each song, I will like add it to a playlist if applicable. And then I'll like remove it from that listen to this shit playlist essentially. So with this album, I already knew I wanted to listen to it and I didn't want to wait. Right? Because like half of the albums in there, for example, like the Chance the Rapper album that I finally listened to, like I don't even know when that came out, but that's like been in that playlist for a while and I finally heard it. I was not about to wait for this album. After hearing the single, I was like, oh girl, I already know I'm in for it. So I did just like go straight to the album in Apple Music and listen to it before like anything had been added into my library. And once I got like 4 songs in, I was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna add the whole thing to my library. And then if like something fits a playlist of mine, it's gonna go in a playlist. But I did literally save every single track. And then the 3 that I like added to specific playlists were Porcelana, the verse in Japanese, girl, the Che. Okay. That song is so good. So good. Like I said, it's really hard for me to like express my obsession with this project. And I can't wait to like dive into it more. This is kind of one of those projects that I feel like I'm going to listen to like a second and a third and a fourth time. And I'm just going to keep listening to it over and over and absorb something new every single time. I just love it. It's so rich. It's very deep. It's not for the nonchalant. Yeah, the second track that I added to a playlist was De Madruga. That song was like really intense. That was like I mean, I'm just gonna say like most of the songs on this album are like spiritual experiences in like a large way. We're getting such a deep dive into Rosalia's like mindset, her spirituality, like her faith, her emotions, like her deepest, darkest secrets, her deepest truths. Like it's such like an open book in my opinion, like the level of intimacy in the lyrics. But that song was like actually insane. And then Magnolias, which like, girl, she really had to do that. That was just such a perfect end to the project. Like it could not have ended in a more perfect way. It's like when you watch a really good movie and then it like ends the way you want it to, or like in a really satisfying way. It was just so creative. And yeah, I don't think I'll ever get sick of it. I know there's like a lot of people out there that are like kind of like Rosalía haters, which I think is like kind of valid because she was in like Latin categories, even though she's not a Latin artist, just because she's Hispanic. And so there was a lot of controversy surrounding her music being categorized with other like Latin artists. And I guess that's like a whole other debate you could go into, like Spanish artists being lumped in with Latin artists, even though Spain is not part of Latin America. Anyway, you get the gist of it, assuming she like even had control over that, because a lot of the music released at that time was like Latin inspired, like Caribbean inspired, and she's even like admitted to that. I don't know that she is necessarily trying to claim that she is that. I don't know. Maybe there's more to that lore than I'm aware of. But this project, I think, obviously she's European, right? There's a lot of like European themes and like European Catholic, like visuals. Like, so she ain't appropriating with this project, right? She's staying pretty true to, in my opinion, it seems like she's staying pretty true to herself. So like, I have a lot of respect for that. She is clearly a very experimental, alternative artist. And I think that like, if someone can experiment, in the right way and lend respect toward a culture that they may be, experimenting with, that's totally fine. But I do understand like the lore of why people are like annoyed by that, because she like, got awards and stuff within that category. I get it. But I guess all that to say, you can safely go into this project knowing that it's not that, is essentially what I'm saying. She's very true to herself. And I'm just so excited to see the music videos, first of all, because like I've always loved the visuals that she's put out pretty much since like the beginning of her like, career. Her visuals have always been very complimentary and like not even just complimentary. They've just like enhanced her music in so many ways. So I'm like super excited to see what she does visually with some of these songs. And I'm like low-key hoping that every song has a visual or some type of music video. It's like all I could hope for. I mean, I would say at this point, like, let's hope the girl has the budget, because come on, girl, after your success, give the people what they want, essentially is what I'm asking. So girl, give the people what they want. But yeah, this album, like, I literally could rant. I could probably rant for like another half an hour about it. Obviously, this is just my like immediate first impression on my first listen. I've only listened through the entire album one time, right? So I'm sure there's going to be things that I'm going to like absorb as time goes on. Now, my only question after listening to this project in its entirety is like, who is La Bella about? Because who did she read to filth? Who did she read to filth in like a majestic ass song? I mean, that shit is so brutal. I want you to go right now and look up La Bella, like English translation. Okay, if you're an English speaker or like whatever language is your native language, go listen to it right now and look up the lyrics. Cause so I like desperately need her to like air that shit out, right? I need her to be dropping some names, or, the name preferably. I can just, hope and pray till the day that I die that she tells us who that fucking song is about, because I was so flabbergasted. Okay, that's the end of my rant about this album. Like I said, I could go on forever. I do have a lot of other segments for today's pod, so like I think it's time to get on with it. So like I said, I listened to 2 albums this week. I did finally listen to Chance the Rapper's new album, Starline. I really like this album. So like obviously Rosalia's album, as far as my rating system goes, it's a 15 out of 15. I gave it 100% because like girl, it will be winning a Grammy. And if it will not, I will have like literally direct beef with the Recording Academy. Okay. Chance the Rapper's Starline, on the other hand, I gave it an 8 out of 17. I saved 8 out of the 17 tracks. That's a 47.1% save rate, which is higher compared to like some of the other albums that I've reviewed so far with that system. Okay. Some of the tracks that were highlights to me were Ride, The Highs and the Lows, Like Me in the Future, Tree, I love Tree, by the way. Letters, Speed of Light, Just a Drop, and Speed of Love. So this project, like, to me was off to like kind of a slow start, and I really like Chance the Rapper. I always have. So I was like I had very high hopes. I have high expectations for this man, right? But I did really enjoy this album. Like I said, like the first half of it, I was kind of like, that's it really? Like, come on. But then, it picked up in the second half, and I loved the second half of it, like pretty much every song, like in the second half. So I would actually recommend like listening to it. There are some songs that like lyrically I really enjoyed, but I was just like, I can't picture myself listening to this just like casually. But like I said, the second half is like a little more, of a vibe. Lyrically, the songs are fantastic. Another Poet, obviously. But yeah, some of them in the first half, I was like, yeah, these are like cool, but I'm not going to be like listening to this. And this is not going to be in my rotation. But yeah, so I gave that 47.1%, period. So I do actually recommend y'all go listen to that. Anything that's above like 30 or 40%, I'm definitely going to be recommending people go listen to, because it may just be like a matter of taste. Sometimes I save stuff just because it's so like artistic. And I might not even really listen to it all the time, but like I'm like, I don't want to forget this exists, right? But then sometimes I save stuff because I'm like, I'm actually going to actively listen to this. This is one of those albums where like half of the songs I was like, this is good, but like I won't listen to this. The other half I will. So I suggest you listen to it. I think you will enjoy. All right, y'all, on to the next topic of today's pod. I do have some thirsts of the week. First, it's starting to cool down a little bit in, California, y'all. I am in California for those of you that are not aware. And we live in an old apartment. Like insulation is not the best. There's a lot of old ass buildings in California, specifically in Los Angeles, that are, just not built for climate change, essentially, right? No central air, no central heat. So it's starting to get a little chilly in the house, and my freaking cat, I literally had to Google it because I was like, is this like okay? And my mom, okay, to preface, my mom's a nurse, y'all. And basically Chelsea, my cat, has been tucking her nose like under blankets. We've been like tucking her in, and she'll like bury her nose under the blanket. And my freaking mom, any of you else out there work in healthcare, or someone that works in healthcare and you know what SIDS is. Okay, my mom was like, she's gonna get SIDS. She's like, you have to uncover her nose. She's not gonna. I'm like, Mom, it's a cat. It's not. It's not a freaking human. It's not a human baby. It's also not like a baby. She's not even a kitten. She's been doing this her whole life, and it's actually a known thing that cats will bury their nose under anything, even with like their own paw or like their own tail or whatever, to help regulate body temperature when it's cold. And literally this little girl, her fur has been cold. Baby, I'm like, you have a fur coat and your fur is cold. So I do think we need to invest in like a cat safe heating pad, something along those lines, because we have been tucking her in a lot to keep her cozy. When she's not like cuddling actively with us for body heat. But anyway, I just have some pictures, and I think they're so freaking cute because she's like adorable, and she's like literally burying her nose, and it's just cute. So I thought you would enjoy that. Anyway, my next thirst of the week is a new skincare product. Okay, I don't know why I was ever off of my niacinamide shit, but she's back on it. And actually, like, when did I pick up my Ulta order? Saturday, right? I'm like 4 or 5 days into, niacinamide back in the rotation, and I literally already see results. So, period. I don't know why I ever stopped, but I have 2 new products. Obviously, like just the ordinaries, like niacinamide and zinc. That serum is like heavenly. I don't know why I ever stopped using it, right? And then I got a new toner. Okay, so I was using the First Aid Beauty like oat milky kind of toner, which I do still enjoy. I would purchase it again. Okay, but I saw rave reviews about this toner. It has ceramides, rice water, niacinamide in it, and I was like, wait, I like want to try it. and it's Korean skincare, right? You literally, quite literally, can almost never go wrong with Korean skincare. So I was like, great, gonna invest in that. So I got the Anua 70 plus rice water toner. And like I said, I'm literally only like 4 or 5 days into using it. And I noticed a massive difference in the texture and fine lines in my skin immediately after use. Like I just look more hydrated. And then also, like, what I will say is, as I'm like getting older, y'all, in the morning my skin is like plump and like bright and like fresh and like mwah, right? And then by the end of the day, all right, by the end of the day, it's not looking too cute. But I do feel like, since including this toner, literally only like 5 days worth of using this toner into my routine, I do feel like low key, it has made a difference in how my skin looks like throughout the day. Now, I will come back with like maybe more of a formal review after using it more long term, because sometimes those immediate results are like, who knows? Could just be like placebo effect, right? So I will keep y'all updated on that. But so far, I'm literally obsessed with it. My other thirst of the week, I've actually been using this for a few weeks now. I don't know why I didn't talk about it on a previous episode, but I finally got the Philips Sonicare electric toothbrush, and I literally love it. If y'all know me, you know that I don't fuck around with my oral hygiene. Okay, I've never had a cavity, knock on wood. I've never had like teeth issues. I had like braces essentially, and that's like it. So I don't fuck around, y'all. I be flossing every day, and I floss like the right way, right? Right, got that little C shape, y'all. And yeah, I don't fuck around with oral hygiene. So the Philips Sonicare electric toothbrush, I've actually wanted this for like a long time. I've pretty much always been like a manual toothbrush girl, but I just like was feeling it. Like I was just like, it's time. I need to get the electric toothbrush. And literally the first, okay, like I said, I have good oral hygiene, never had a cavity, like as a manual toothbrush user. But when I used the Philips Sonicare electric toothbrush for the first time, it felt like I just left the dentist. Okay. And I was like, that's weird. Cause like, huh? How I've never felt that feeling. Like that straight up just like slick. I mean, I felt the slickness. Every night after I brush my teeth, I feel that slickness, right? But that was on another level. I was like, this shit just polished my motherfucking pearls, baby. So if you are in the market basically for an electric toothbrush, okay, that's like pretty much affordable. It's like $50, I think, 50, $60. And at that, you are someone that maybe doesn't have the best oral hygiene and you want something to kind of like boost it a little bit, you are going to love this thing. Now, I will say there's like not like a learning curve with electric toothbrushes, but like kind of to an extent. You have to angle it the way that you do when you normally brush your teeth, like a 45-degree angle towards the gums. But also, like, you're not supposed to like use it like obviously you're just supposed to kind of like let it sit there and like slowly take it across the gum line. And then I use it then also to like polish the actual tooth. But this shit works wonders. I'm obsessed with it. My only complaint is that, like, who's only taking 2 minutes to brush their teeth? Is it just me? Because it has a timer on it. So it has like a 30-second thing for like the first quadrant where you're supposed to be able to go outside, like the actual surface of the tooth, and then like behind. And that's only 30 seconds. I'm like, dude, it takes me 30 seconds just to go like along the front, like, and then underneath. Like, no. It takes way longer than 2 minutes, in my opinion, to brush your teeth. I would say more like 3.5. Okay. And then if we're including like brushing the tongue or tongue scraping, if people tongue scrape, I've always just like brushed my tongue. Never had any breath issues, right? But like if we're including that, maybe 4 minutes, right? And then rinsing. or mouth washing, if, up to your own preference. The brushing itself is like 3 to 4 minutes. So like, I don't know where dentists get off telling people to brush their teeth in 2 minutes. Like, no wonder half of the people on the planet have like brushed their toothbrush down to like the bone where like the bristles are all like messed up, because people are just like brushing too fast. 2 minutes is not enough time. Hot take. 2 minutes is not enough time to brush your teeth. Okay. But anyway, I freaking love it. So, do with that information what you will. Okay, I do have some miscellaneous random bullshit that I did want to talk about on the pod today before I share my clip of the week, okay? Unfortunately, I did have a super, super, super severe back flare-up. For those of you that don't know, I was hit by a car in February of 2025, okay, this year. Still dealing with back pain from it. I know for some of y'all that have been listening to all the pod episodes, I'm probably going to sound like a broken record, but this is my first time experiencing this kind of thing. And this is my outlet to like gab and vent and like rant a little bit about anything I want, anything I please, right? So essentially Monday when I was at work, I went to like sit down at the end of my shift. I've been trying to like stand, because essentially if I sit longer than like an hour or two, even with like really good posture, yeah, I'm like in pain. I'd have 2 discs in my lumbar spine that at this point, I think with my physical therapist, we've realized kind of push against a nerve on the left side of like my top glute. And so I get like pain, right? Okay. If any of you have like disc issues, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's brutal. So far, I have not had to deal with sciatica, knock on wood, that travels any further than like the top of my glute. But yeah, so I had a pretty like actually like horrible flare up on Monday. So I've still been going to physical therapy. My physical therapist gave me like tips and tricks on things to do, like ways to correct my posture and like, but yeah, it's just an ongoing thing. Like, I never would have thought at 28 that I have to be like dealing with back problems. But like, I guess all this to say, I'm bringing this up because I want you all out there, if you're able-bodied and you don't have any like chronic pain like that, I want you to every night and or every morning, like express your gratitude for that, because it's something that actually like not super consistently, but like frequently gets in the way of my life and impacts the way that I live and things that I do and like decisions that I make, which is super, super lame. So yeah, if you like don't have back pain, just like be grateful that you don't is essentially all I'm saying. And don't take like your health or, whatever for granted. I mean, I'm like still a fairly healthy person. I'm not gonna like come on here and be like, saying I have all these problems and like, woe is me. But like, just to say, everybody has their own like relative things that they deal with. And if you don't have to deal with that shit, be grateful. So it's an ongoing process. I'm trying to figure out ways that I can help long sitting not be so agonizing. So if anybody out there has any tips, like let me know. Obviously my PT is like giving me exercises and like things to do and like ways to correct things. I think that I also like tilt my pelvis like forward too far much. So I think I need to like work on tilting it. Well, technically I tilt it back too much. So that's like creating that antithesis and like the curvature of the spine. So I do need to like tilt it the other way, tilt it forward when I'm sitting and when I'm standing, because I lock my knees sometimes when I stand and then my pelvis like tilts back. But anyway, long story short, it's just like things that like great. I have to like think about that all the time now. Fantastic. So, right. That's just like a small update for y'all that even care. We're pushing on through, right? We're doing the best that we can out here. I was making lunch yesterday, okay? And I had some like falafel, Trader Joe's falafel, like actually not bad at all. The dill ones are insane. They're so good. But I just had like the basic falafel. I had some like beans and like a little salad mixture, okay? It's given like Mediterranean, right? Okay, Middle Eastern Mediterranean. I was like feeling myself, right? And I was like, I want a little bit of spice going on here. And I still had some pepperoncinis in my fridge that I got from Whole Foods that were like jarred pepperoncinis that were literally so good, but like, why are they so expensive? They were like $8 for the jar. Okay, why? Why is that a thing, right? Everything's expensive now, okay? And I was like serving up these pepperoncinis and I just got this like immense urge. Like, I need to make a peppercini martini. Literally a light bulb went off in my brain. Why don't people make martinis with like the peppercini juice instead of olive brine and then put like a little peppercini moment inside? I could literally taste it as I'm speaking. Why is my mouth watering? Oh my God. I'm not even really that much of a martini person because it's just like a lot of alcohol. It's got to be like basically frozen for me to enjoy. It has to be so bone chillingly cold, right? Okay. Glass frosted to the nines. So I'm like not really a martini person, but there was just something about seeing that peppercini that like flipped a switch in me and I was like, oh my God. So anyway, let me know if y'all make a peppercini martini. Maybe I'll like try to make one and like make a recipe for y'all. Maybe I'll like low-key make one and post like a little tutorial on the pod Instagram. Anyway, I just feel like also low-key it's only gonna give vodka martini. Gin martini, pepper does not check out at all. So that's gonna have to give vodka martini. I don't have vodka and I don't be drinking vodka. So I might have to grab some minis from the liquor store. I'll keep y'all updated on that. So follow the Zesty Thoughts podcast Instagram and I'll keep you updated on that. Okay, last segment of the pod, my clip of the week. Okay, I'm with all y'all. I am not really in support of like the use of AI in like our everyday life, right? Okay. But I do have a sense of humor. I do appreciate some AI content while I'm doom scrolling, okay? It's like pretty much the only context in which I'm like okay with AI content is when I'm in a little mind-numbing doom scroll, right? Okay. These Sora AI videos, I mean, we've completely lost the plot, right? Someone has completely lost their mind here. Most have completely lost their mind, right? There's just one in particular that this week, literally, I almost beat myself. It was so... I really hope that y'all have like a similar sense of humor to me. I mean, I would hope you do if you're watching the pod and you're subscribed and you're like following along, right? What the journey, I would assume we have similar senses of humor. Anything that's like cat related, honestly, with AI is like absolutely ending me every time that I see it. Like I've already talked about the AI like cat workout videos, right? Those are like actually insane. But this one just about ended it all for me. It's basically a video. I'm going to put it here for y'all to enjoy before the pod ends. It is a video of a cat playing various musical instruments. And the POV is from like a Ring camera, essentially, on someone's front porch. And then like the owner of the cat or whoever's residence it is like comes out and scolds the cat. Like, I'm just going to put it here. I'm just going to leave it here for y'all so you can enjoy.
Hey, stop that. It's midnight. Hand over the banjo. Hey, knock it off. It's midnight. Give me that horn.
Screaming.
Hey, knock it off. It's midnight. Give me those.
Period. The bagpipes.
It's midnight. Give me that pipe. No more
Give me that. Singular pipe, right?
It's midnight. Hand it over.
Hey, quit it. It's midnight. Hand over the drums.
No more jam session tonight. You hear me?
I just can't. I literally reposted that shit. I'm sorry. I'll never scroll past a cat AI video. I'm so sorry. It's my weakness. It's my guilty pleasure. Anyway, y'all, that is going to wrap up today's pod. I hope that you enjoyed. Like I said, please follow the pod Instagram. Trying to run that shit up. I am going to be posting more content on there regularly. Like stories, like cute little pics and reels and clips from the pod and like behind the scenes stuff. So like please follow and support. Also go follow like my TikTok. All these links, like socials and stuff, are in the description of today's episode. Please engage with the pod too, y'all. If you are subscribed and if you're like listening regularly and you're super into it, please like the video, leave a comment, even just like an emoji. Actually, since the main topic of today's episode was Rosalia's new album, maybe drop a little like CD emoji in the comments. Anyway, y'all, thanks for listening and watching. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe and I'll see you next week. Bye.